largest of his entire career, murder for hire. Prosecutors claim Durk ordered members of his OTF crew to travel.
Yeah, and if you know, they do not play about that murder for hire, boy. They do not play about that shit.
Los Angeles.
Hey, if he beat this case, sum up. I ain't gonna lie. If he beat this case, some ain't right.
And target rival rapper
ain't no way.
Rondo, a move allegedly tied to revenge for the death of King Von. As the situation for Durk remains uncertain, his legal team is fighting to get the case thrown out before it even reaches trial. So in this video,
I will say he got some good ass lawyers, so that is gonna help. But I don't know, this is gonna be a tough one.
Full update, and I'm also gonna do a recap of why Lil Durk is in the position that he's currently in. Now, like a lot of people already know, on the 24th of October last year, everything came crashing down for Lil Durk.
Lil Durk has now been charged in a superseding federal grand jury indictment. It alleges that he conspired with others to murder a rival rapper near the Beverly Center 2 years ago.
Durk was arrested in Florida by U.S. Marshals on a federal murder for hire charge, just hours after several alleged members of his OTF crew were hit with similar indictments. According to prosecutors, the case traces back to the August 2022 Los Angeles gas station shooting that left Quando Rondo's cousin, Lopab, dead. Investigators say that OTF members used a credit card linked to Durk's label to book flights, rent hotel rooms,
and that's where you fucked up at. You gotta go, if you finna do some shit like this, you gotta go straight cash. And I'm not trying to tell nobody how to get away with shit. But if you want to do some shit like this, you gotta go straight cash in GTA.
The city before opening fire. Durk's team.
You gonna use a card with the nigga name on it? Y'all niggas be some idiotic, bro.
Of course, denies
Literally
everything.
Idiotic.
His attorney at the time confirmed he was taken into custody in Florida and held without bail, while his associates were arrested in Chicago and transferred to California federal court. At the time of his arrest, authorities claimed that Durk had actually attempted to flee the country, so maybe on some level he knew what was coming. According to the affidavit, he had 3 international flights booked, one to Italy, one to Switzerland, and one to Dubai, but ultimately never boarded any of them because the feds did a sweep. That detail alone shows how serious the situation had gotten at that point. These were extremely serious allegations against Durk. We're not talking about some minor charges. This is murder for hire. On top of that,
I ain't gonna lie, if he could have hit that plane, cause bro, when you got money, bro, you can go lay low key somewhere. When you got money, you can do that. Now, when you just gonna be out on the street, everybody seeing your face. But if he would've got on that plane, they probably wouldn't have found him yet. I ain't gonna lie.
Okay, one of the most successful street rappers.
They probably wouldn't have found him yet, chat.
So the question a lot of people had was, how did it get this far? And was all this a bunch of cap? However, like the feds always do when they build a case, they allegedly had a bunch of evidence against Durk, which included financial records showing that an OTF-linked credit card was reportedly used to book flights and hotel rooms for the crew that traveled from Chicago to Los Angeles. Everything was traced during the investigation, from flight purchases and hotel check-ins to the transactions made after the shooting, painting a picture of what prosecutors say was a carefully coordinated plan. Prosecutors also pointed to travel records and court documents claiming that Durk personally provided the funds for the trip, while one of his top associates handled the logistics. Everything from hotel arrangements to buying ski masks. Crazy. They say his top associate, Kayvon Grant, was also the one who obtained firearms, including a weapon allegedly converted into a fully automatic rifle, all under Durk's direction. Investigators...
That mean he had a switchy. If you don't know what that mean he had a switchy.
Claimed the group used those cars, one of which had fake license plates, to track Quando Rondo's SUV before ambushing him at the Beverly Center gas station. After the shooting, prosecutors say the same crew met at In-N-Out, discussed payments. On top of that, the indictment describes coded conversations where Durk allegedly promised money or music opportunities as rewards for carrying out the attack. In short, prosecutors are framing this entire case as retaliation for King Von's death, a calculated move to send a message that what happened to Von wouldn't be forgotten. I guess, according to them, he literally slid for Von, right? And Durk, like we all know, he comes from the streets. So
there was a big thing too, bro. Everybody on social media was under his post talking about slide for Von. But at some point, nigga just can't take it no more. At some point, nigga just can't take it some more. So he probably was gonna slide anyway. But the crowd and the entertainment world, they steady provoking him to slide for Von. Now, me personally, bro, letting people on social media like persuade you to do something in that caliber is crazy, bro. It's crazy. A lot of these niggas, they just know how to rap and shit. They can't think. They just know how to rap and, you know what I'm saying, make a good ass song. But when it come down to thinking and using your brain, you niggas be dumb.
Something like this tied to his name isn't
Real
completely
talk.
shocking. Street cred and actually living up to it has always been a part of his brand. So when you hear these types of accusations, the first reaction might be, why would someone like him risk everything? But then again, when your entire success and respect in the culture is built on that image, your mindset isn't always guided by logic. It's driven by loyalty, pride, survival, and emotions. If you
tell
let
us something
something
we
like
already
that,
know.
Savannah rapper
so Quando in that video was literally screaming no, obviously out of pure emotional pain because his cousin was dying right in front of him.
Right.
So the prosecution tried to connect those lyrics to that exact moment, basically claiming that Durk was referencing the scene as a way to celebrate or acknowledge the revenge. But here's where things fall apart. Durk's legal team said that the song was written and recorded 6 months before the attack even happened. They even submitted sworn statements from producers who worked on the song in January 2022, proving it couldn't possibly have been about that shooting. In the motion, Durk's lawyer, Drew Findling, wrote, unless the government is prosecuting Mr. Banks on a theory of extra sensory pre-science, the lyrics could not have soundly informed the grand jury's findings of probable cause. Basically, they were saying the government built its original case on a false timeline.
Right.
Now, in May of this year, Durk was back in federal court in Los Angeles, trying one more time to get released on bond.
So when is his trial? When is
Durk's
Durk's trial?
came prepared with what they called a robust proposal, basically a bail plan to convince the judge that Durk could safely stay at home instead of being behind bars. It included a $1 million package backed by his record label, Alama Records, plus another $150,000 in cash that Durk personally added to sweeten the deal. On top of that, he offered to pay a Beverly Hills security company to provide 24-hour armed security guards at his house, basically a private home detention setup to prove he wouldn't be a flight risk.
Right.
But the judge wasn't having it. After about an hour of arguments,
nah, facts. And when you do some shit like that, when you book 3 flights out of the country, ain't no way they finna let you back at the crib. Now, if you wouldn't have did that shit, you would probably be at the crib right now. No cap. You would probably be at the crib right now. But you want to book 3 flights out the country. Nah, not hit the road, dude.
For bond was
hit the
denied.
road.
According to Rolling Stone, the judge said she'd received reports claiming that Durk had been using the phone accounts of 13 other inmates to make calls while in custody. Basically, he was using other people's phone access to stay in contact with the outside world,
right,
which is against jail rules. She also said he appeared to be making 3-way calls, which is another violation. Durk's lawyer pushed back and said it wasn't as serious as it sounded. He told the court that kind of thing happens all the time inside of federal facilities and that Durk was just trying to stay in touch with his family. His lawyer, Drew Findling, also pointed out that jail staff had nothing but positive things to say about Durk's behavior and about how he's been staying grounded in his Muslim faith. Still, the judge didn't budge. She ordered Durk to remain in custody. What's interesting is that during that same hearing, Drew finally mentioned that prosecutors had just filed a new version of the indictment and that they actually removed some of the strongest claims.
Hold on, what did they say? The government has now been proved wrong and has removed the reference to the way of that. Okay. Alright, that's some good news then. That's good news.
And according to Durk's legal team, they took out the part saying that Durk monetized death in his lyrics and also dropped the line accusing him of personally ordering a co-defendant to pay the bounty. But prosecutors told the court that none of that changes their position. They said this case isn't about lyrics or music, it's about Durk's actions and what they say were the steps he took to order that hit in Los Angeles. So at that point in May, Durk was still behind bars, no bail, no release, just waiting for the next move. Now the plot kept thickening, and in June of this year...
Alright, let me just keep it a book. Fuck it. Now, if you asking me as a little Durk fan, did Durk do this shit? Nah, bro. He ain't do it. But it's asking as a fan. Now, if you asking me, like, just on some real shit, he know what he did, bro.
With an even...
That's all I'm saying. He know what he did.
Proposal, this time worth a massive $4.5 million. The offer included around-the-clock home detention with private security and electronic monitoring, but once again the judge said no. And why exactly did he say no? Well, the judge stated that the proposed funds were only a fraction of Durk's net worth, and that because he's facing a mandatory life sentence, if convicted, even an innocent man might consider running. The judge also pointed to Durk's attempt to fly to Dubai shortly after other defendants were arrested, saying that detail showed he had already tried to flee once. And then Durk's lawyer pushed back on us, saying the trip was for business and spiritual reasons, but the judge didn't buy it. He said plainly,
Bro, hey, this nigga got a
finds that
good
the-
ass lawyer, bro. Trying to say them trips was for, cause I mean he is Muslim, so they can't say it's not. But like, see, that's why you can't go around with ain't no public defender thinking of no shit like that, bro. No public defender. That's why you got to get you a good ass lawyer if you get the chance, cause if you go in that bitch with a public defender, you might as well get ready to sit down, bro. You might as well get ready to sit down. I ain't gonna lie.
Defendant did attempt to flee abroad. After the ruling, Durk's legal team said in a statement that they were disappointed but still confident he'll be cleared once the truth comes out.
Right.
And what's interesting is that, during this hearing, the judge also acknowledged that the case wasn't exactly airtight yet. Very interesting. He said it's possible, maybe even plausible, that Durk was pulling the strings, but at some point, there has to be real proof, not just general claims. Very interesting.
So what happened to the nigga who was supposedly on the wire, bro? Did that shit just go all out the window? When this shit first opened up, they was like, they had somebody on the wire, whoop-de-woo, doop-de-doo. I ain't heard shit about that yet. Like, that shit, like, bro, something weird be going on. I just don't know what it is, because I'm not in the government and law and shit. But some weird shit be going on. I just don't know what.
And then fast forward to this September,
but I'm gonna
things
figure it
started
out
to shift
though.
again behind
I'm
the
gonna
scenes.
figure it out.
Prosecutors and several of Durk's co-defendants actually filed a motion asking to delay the trial, calling the case so unusual and so complex that they needed more time to prepare. But here's the crazy part. Durk wasn't actually one of them. He didn't agree to delay the trial at all. And in court documents, it literally says, Defendant Banks, that's Durk, does not join in the stipulation to continue the trial in this matter, meaning Durk actually wanted to go to trial sooner than later. Prosecutors, on the other hand, argue that since Durk is being tried alongside the others, the delay should still apply to him, saying a 3-month wait constitutes a reasonable period of delay and doesn't violate his right to a speedy trial. If Durk wants to fight that, his team could try to oppose the delay or even ask the judge to separate his case from the others, but that decision hasn't been made yet. Essentially what's going on right now is that Durk is once again trying to have his federal murder for hire charges dismissed, claiming that the government's case is way too vague to even fight properly. The first time they tried to get the case dismissed was back in October of last year, right after Durk got arrested. The trial was originally supposed to happen this October, but it's now been pushed back to January 2026, which means that's when Durk will finally have his day in court, unless his lawyers manage to get it dismissed before then. Which was the likelihood that's going to happen? I'm not too sure about that.
January 2026.
And Durk, of course, continues to deny that he ever ordered a hit on Quando Rondo. He's gearing up to fight these charges head on, but according to a new filing made on October 6th, his lawyers say they can't even prepare a proper defense because prosecutors haven't clearly explained what they're actually accusing him of, which is what the judge said earlier, right? They're arguing that the entire case is built on guesswork, that there's no clear evidence of how or when Durk supposedly communicated this bounty. Durk's legal team specifically stated, this indictment is impermissibly vague. It leaves the defense to guess as to the government's theory of guilt, and it leaves the government free to change that theory as its cooperators' stories morph over time to meet the demands of a conviction. So basically what they're saying is that the government can't just keep moving the goalpost, that they need to show exactly what Durk said, who he said it
they
to.
They can though, bro. My bad. They can, bro. They can do whatever, bro. To be real, bro, don't nobody got rights, bro. They can do whatever the fuck they want to do, bro. They can do whatever they... If you get pulled over, and let's just say you get pulled over, bro, and a police say take a sobriety test, you ain't drink a lick of alcohol, but if he say you drunk, your ass drunk, bro. If he say you drunk, you drunk. So it's like they can do whatever. It don't even matter. It really don't.
And it's interesting because that's not at all what most people thought was happening with this case. Could this be some type of tactic to buy time or weaken the prosecution's strategy? I don't really know, right? But either way, it's the job of his attorneys to look for every single crack in the government's case and use it to their advantage. That's what the legal team is getting paid for, right? So it's looking pretty uncertain for Durk right now. Until that trial actually starts, all we can do is watch how this plays out in court and hope that the truth comes to light. This case could, however, definitely end Lil Durk. I'm sure a lot of people were wondering what's been going on with the Lil Durk case, and of course, I'm always here to keep you guys informed.
Nah, yeah, that's facts, bro. If he get found guilty or he don't get a good ass plea deal, It's over with for Durk. Over with. He finna sit down till he about 60. No cap, he finna sit till he about 60.